By now, you've already realized how exhausting it can be to follow up on emails from customers and how long it can actually take. That's why I built this automation exactly for people like you. And don't worry, you don't need to be a genius. This video is exactly for beginners like you. So let's jump right into the video. Alright, so this is the automation right here. Let's go ahead and run it so you can actually see what it is doing. So right over here, this is where you're going to be storing the information of the client that you want to follow up. So you have a simple form that you fill in the information. So there's the information already pinned down below, and then you have the Google Sheet document where you will be storing all of that information of the client so it can continue and keep track of the client's information as it is following up on them. And now this is the Google Sheet document with everything right there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to wipe everything clean right there. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first flow. So execute the client flow right there. So it goes ahead and stores the information of that client, and as you can see, the information has been stored right there. And now what this will do right down below, this part here is actually going to follow up on the people, and it will run daily every single day, and then it will check how many days passed before sending on the next follow-up. Right, so now we're checking there, so you can see the path that it will follow. So it's follow-up 1, and there it goes ahead, and it will go ahead and send the email to that client. All right, and here you go. As you can see, email sent right there. I just placed the 1 there because this is just to show you how to actually implement it. You'll go ahead and customize everything on your own, which however it fits for your business, but that's all you need right there. All right, so if you already want this automation, by the way, built already, you can get this in the link in the description already built out, and you can just go ahead and simply download it for yourself, this template. But I'm going to show you now how to actually build this automation for yourself, and I'm going to clear that right there. Now the very first thing I want you to have is a Google Sheets document with whatever name you want it to be named, but make sure that you have the following columns, as it's very important. Have the client name, client email, proposal doc, proposal topic, date sent, follow-up 1 sent, follow-up 2 sent, follow-up 3 sent, and then the status. Now that's all the columns you need right there. Go ahead and create that. All right, so now that we have that right here, let's go ahead and build out the first automation. So what you want to go ahead is we're going to click right there and then type in NAN form, because that's the form you're going to be using. Click that, create it, and then go ahead and put the title name, whatever you want it to be right there. Put whatever description you want for yourself. Right, and now we're going to go ahead and add the questions that we want to ask. So the very first thing you want to know is what is the client's name. So what client name, and then click add attributions, then required field, toggle that as on, and then add form element. Now you want to find out what the client's email is. Then the element type, go ahead and click that as email, and then go ahead, add attributes, required field, toggle that on. And then the next one, you want to put in the proposal topic, and then the element type here, what you want to go ahead and select is the text area, add attribute, and then toggle on required field. That's all you need to do there. And here where it says respond when, you want to respond when the workflow has finished storing the information. So then afterwards, you want to go ahead, click add options, and then append anything attribution, toggle that off. Ignore bots, toggle that on, so you only get real human responses. And then the form response, go ahead and customize that however you want. You're going to be the only one that really sees this, and that's basically all you need to do right there. So that's the form built out and ready to go. Now we want to actually go ahead and store all of this information. So what you're going to do there now is go and type in Google Sheets, and you want to append a row in sheet. You want to add it to the document. So go ahead and pick the document name. So follow up sequence, go ahead and pick the sheet where you're storing all of that information. And then these are the following information you want to go ahead and store. Now, because we don't have test data to work with here, you're going to go ahead and click execute the workflow. You're going to fill in everything right there. So the name, and then the client email, and then whatever topic you want to discuss with them. And then right after you've done all that, submit it. And there you go. We want that specific problem right there because we're going to fix it right now. All right, so now that we actually have some test data to work with, I want you to come over here and then pin that data so we don't have to keep refilling in the form, but we have data always available. Now what you want to do is come down here where it says client name, click and hold on the name and drag it all the way to the client name, and then you go ahead and do the same for everything else. So the client email, the proposal topic, and then the date sent. Just gonna click and grab the submitted, add and drag type that all the way there. And the follow-up 1 and the follow-up 2 and 3, you leave that blank right there. And then the status, you want to come ahead and type in open. All right, so now we're actually done storing all of that information. So let's go ahead and execute the workflow once again. So now that we have actually executed it, now we have information stored right in there. So let's go ahead and build the actual automation that will be handling the follow-ups. So let's go ahead, click right there, type in schedule, and then pick a time. So pick 8 a.m. and it will be running daily at a specific time. And don't worry, it won't be sending the same follow-ups to the same person. Then right after you've done all of that, now you want to go ahead and you want to grab all of the clients that need to be followed up on. So type in Google Sheets and then get rows in sheet, and then pick the document name, follow-up sequence, pick the sheet, there we go. And then you want to add a filter. So click add filter, and you want to specifically filter it only to the status where it's open. So status, and then go ahead and type in open. This will only give you the clients that still are open to being followed up on and that haven't really responded to you yet. Right, so get client info, and then right after that you want to go ahead and type in code in JavaScript. And don't worry, I'll show you the exact code that you will need for this, so you don't even need to panic about it. Right, so now let's go ahead and copy it and then paste it all in there. So everything has been pasted, and this is the exact code that I want you to put inside of your code as well. So as you can see right there, I'm going very slowly so you can see absolutely everything and not miss anything. And let me go back up very slowly for you, but you can also slow down the video so that you can see everything. And basically what this code will be doing is it will be checking how many days have passed, and if 3 days have passed, then it will go ahead and pick the follow-up 1 email, and if 7 days have passed, then it'll go ahead and follow up with the second email, and if 14 days have passed, then it'll go ahead and follow up with the third email. All right, so now that we have all of this, now you want to go ahead and type out switch. This will basically just pick the path that it needs to continue on depending on how many days have already passed. So you're gonna add routing rule and add another one, so you'll have 3 routing rules. So rename that to follow up 1, and then rename that one to follow up 2, rename the third one to follow up 3, and then the values, value 2 for the first follow up, you want to change that to 1, put the second one at 2 and the third one at 3. And then the values you're actually going to be getting, we first need the test data. So let's go ahead and execute it from the start right there. So from start, and now you want to go ahead, execute the workflow. All right, so now let's go ahead and execute the workflow once again. So execute the workflow, and now we'll actually pass everything through because we have a minimum amount of days to work with. So go ahead to the switch, and what I want you to go ahead and click and drag as a follow up to you right here. Go ahead and drag that all the way here, and then go ahead and copy everything and then paste it in there, and paste this in there as well. And you'll see that the first one changed to a type of date, which is not what we want. We want that to be a string and is equal to 1. So we have that right there. And right after everything right there, now you want to type in Gmail. So the Gmail itself, send a message, and this is going to be the first follow-up that you send after 3 days. All right, and then you're basically going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other 2 paths as well. So add another Gmail and then send a message once again. Third one, Gmail as well, send a message once again. There we go. And it's supposed to show all of those warning signs right there because we're still missing some information to actually work with. But right after you've gone ahead and done that, I want you to go ahead and deactivate all of that by clicking that power button right there. And now I want you to execute the workflow once again so it passes through the switch node. All right, so now it's actually done that. Now you can go ahead and activate them once again. The reason for that is so that information is actually being passed along the previous node, so we have something to work. So at the first follow-up, I want you to go ahead and click here where it says client email. You're going to click and hold that and drag that to the 2 and write whatever subject you want to write. I'm just going to put 1, change the email type to the text and put in whatever message you want to put there. I'm just going to put 1. And then here where it says add options, I want you to click append init and attribution, toggle that off. Sender name, put your own name. If you do not do that, it will instead replace it with your email, which is not something that you want. And then you just go ahead and you rinse and repeat it for the other 2 Gmail nodes as well. So you go ahead and copy the 2 right here, and then go to the second one, paste it in the second one right there. Go ahead and paste it in the third one in the 2 field as well, and then change the subject as well well to whatever follow-up you want to do right there. So 3 as well. Change the email type to text, change that email type to text as well, and then write out whatever email you want to write there. Don't forget to actually go ahead, click the add options once again, the Canadian attribution, toggle that off, and then send a name, put in your own name, and do the same with the other one. All right, so now that we have our emails that we want to actually send to the person, now we want to go ahead and store the date when we sent that specific follow-up email so it doesn't repeat the same follow-up for that person. So go ahead and put Google Sheets right after the first one, type in Google Sheets, and now you want to update row and sheet, and you want to specifically match on where the emails are the same. So go ahead and pick the document first, so document name, follow-up sequence, and then here where it says sheet, go ahead and pick the sheet once again, and here the columns to match on. What that basically means is where the email will be the same as the one that you're entering. So the client email right there, and then the client name you don't want to update, nor the proposal, nor the date sent. The only thing you want to update is the follow-up one sensing, as it's the follow-up one path. So go back to switch, toggle that open right there, and then what you want to come ahead and do there is drag the client email into there, right over there, and then over here you want to go ahead and do the following. So you want to grab today's date, so those brackets right there, and then the $sign, type now .to ISO and click enter right there, and then it'll go ahead and pick today's date as well as the time, so it does not repeat it when the automation runs again tomorrow morning, and then it can actually keeping track of the days and not send the same email to the same person over and over again. Go ahead and copy this right there, so copy that, paste it, and then paste it once again. So as you can see right there, so it's easily go ahead and connect that together, so you have one for each path, and basically you already have the dates already that will be storing, as well as the client email that you need to match on. Just rename that so you actually know which path it is for. So this one is for the 2, this one is for 3, and there we go. That is everything right there. Now to actually show you that it works, I'm going to show you now. So what it's supposed to go and do is store today's date right over there, because 3 days have already been passed and it needs to send a follow-up email to this client. So let's go ahead, execute the workflow and test it. So it goes ahead and sends the first follow-up once again, and then it stores the fact that it sent it. So as you can see, the date has been stored now right there. And then over here, let's go ahead and try to execute it again to see if it'll send the email to that same person, even though it has already done that follow-up. So execute the workflow, and as you can see, it didn't even bother continuing the automation because it knows that it has already sent the first follow-up for that specific client, and then it'll just go ahead and continue with the rest of the clients that haven't received that yet. But that's basically how you want to go ahead and do that. And in case you want to change the time in between follow-ups, you can just go ahead inside of the calculate days pass and change these numbers to how many days you want to wait before sending the next follow-up. And an important thing that you need to also do is to manually go ahead and change the status to lost. Type in lost if you didn't get the person to accept your proposal, or 1 if they actually did go ahead and accept your proposal, and that's all you're going to need to do manually. But the rest of the following up on that person on specific days, that will be handled by this automation on its own. And also don't forget to go ahead and publish it so it can actually actively run in the background on its own. But that brings us to the end of the video, and I hope you found that useful. And don't forget, you can go ahead and download this automation in the link in the description. I will have it exactly the same way as I have it right over here, and I hope you found this useful.